Hey guys, my name is Chandler McMahon with Transcend Roofing Systems. Today we're out at 5021 Gallantry. This is for Kim Gilliam. It's currently 4:17. It is 82 degrees outside. I'm drenched in sweat, so definitely hot enough for the shingles to be pliable. So it's well over 40 degrees. So we're gonna go ahead and attempt to do this repair. I'm gonna show them one thing real quick first. So my biggest concern, obviously, there's hail. I mean, we've got hail damage on this roof, but I mean, they just didn't want to pay for it, which is fine. We're gonna go ahead and attempt to do this repair. My biggest concern is, if you look at the condition of these shingles, like, look at how bad the granule loss on this is. I mean, this shingles, it's in very bad condition. I mean, I'm seeing blistering everywhere. Let me show this real quick. Here's the wind damage that we are doing the repair on. So you can see the creasing at the top. This is the wind damage we're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and box off the areas that I know we're gonna have to actually break the sealant on, because that's gonna be what I wanna pay attention to. Because my biggest concern is, I'm concerned the shingle's gonna rip. Even using the proper tools, we're using a putty knife to go ahead and just break the sealant on these, to make sure that obviously we're doing it carefully. To put the nails back in, I will be using a roof snake. So I'm using a roof snake to put it back in, and I'm just using a regular hammer. So let's go ahead and start. So shingle, this is actually, it's nice because it hasn't rained, and this was what we marked during that adjuster meeting, so it's still here. So this is where the shingle starts and goes. This is the one we're pulling out. So we're gonna be looking at shingle 1, number 2, because this is a separate shingle. And then we've got, where's the other one start? So we got 3, and that's it. So on this one, we're only gonna have to manipulate 3, which is good, because this line goes straight up, and this is where the shingle starts. So really, in reality, what we're paying attention to is the shingles in this area. Let's go ahead and start. This is technically, if you're facing home, this would be your back left slope. So I'm gonna do real quick for y'all. Back left. One thing I am gonna go ahead and mark up, we got valleys here into the back slope. If this does not pass, which I already think it's gonna fail, just on the condition of the shingle, we got valley code, so valleys, and then we also have hips. So the next thing it's going to be, and I'm gonna do it in a different color, is gonna be the hip code. So we got the hip code. So valley code, hip code. Let's go ahead and do this repair, and I'm gonna be very careful. Obviously it's a little bit sketchy because it's steep, but I'm gonna use this to try and break that sealant and be as careful as I can. Just make sure you document this so you can show them that I'm being as careful as I can possibly be with the shingle. Tar sealant, it's already ripping right here. Tar sealant is it's held up really well on this shingle. And I don't know why y'all wanted us to use a putty knife. I usually use my roof snake because that works way better in my opinion. And it's ripping right here. And I'm being very careful to make sure I'm trying to be as fragile as I can with the shingle to make sure I can bring this to a true pre-loss condition. And it just ripped again. Look at this. Can I actually show this? Because I want to show, they can see that I'm not being rough with this, but look at this. The shingle just ripped right here. Look at that. So that's already failed. It's ripped in 2 spots. Let me go ahead and mark these so I don't forget where they're at. I'm gonna use a separate color. So we had a rip there, huge rip right there. And I am using the tools that were recommended and what they said in this email to use. Let's go ahead and continue. And it's ripping again, it's ripping more. And it's ripping right here. Look at this, ripped again. Gosh. We're only on the first shingle too. I mean, this shingle is sealed very well. It ripped there and it ripped here. So now we have 4 rips already. And I'm trying my best to do this as carefully as I can. All right, got that unsealed finally. That should be good right there. That one had a little bit of tearing right here, but it's just very minimal, so I'm not really gonna count that. All right, let's go to the next shingle above. Guys, and look at this. I mean, like, this thing is sealed very well. I don't know why I'm using a putty knife to do this, dude. I always use the roof snake. I'm gonna go from the other end. It's just on there. It's sealed on there very well. And it just tore. Look at this. Just tore right here. I'm gonna go ahead and mark that. Tore there. So now we've just damaged, we damaged this shingle. We've already damaged this shingle. Just on breaking the sealant, and it's ripping again. It's literally ripping right where I just marked at. Look at this. It's ripping right here. And that's where I gotta go to get this thing sealed. Man, this thing is sealed on there good. With how well sealed this, and it, look at this, it's ripping again. Can you show this? Look at this. I'm gonna barely lift up. Can you see that rip? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That's not a, this is not a pre-loss condition at all whatsoever. There's no way I can do a repair on this roof. There's no way. All right. I'm probably gonna go ahead and call it, dude. There's no point in continuing to do a repair. Even if we have the correct shingle, which we have the shingle sitting over there, I cannot put a new shingle in this spot and leave the roof in this condition and look at this homeowner and tell them that they're gonna be okay, because this is not okay. Number one, let's go ahead and look at the shingle that I've already unsealed. There's matting transfer all over the place underneath here. This is never gonna reseal. But look at this, that's not even my biggest concern. I used a putty knife. So I used the putty knife right here. I did exactly what, you know, they tell us to do. I was very careful. Look at all these rips. So we got a rip here. Look at that. We've got a rip here. We have another rip right here. We have a massive rip right here. It's kind of hard to do this while I'm on the side of the roof. I'm having to hold on to the rope. Look at the rip right there. And then another rip right here. Look at this. I mean, this is not, look at this one. This is damaging this roof, and I haven't even gotten the nails out yet. I haven't even lifted the shingle. This is just breaking the sealant on it. If I lift this shingle at all, let me show you. If I'm using the roof snake to get the nails out, in order to get the nails out, when I go up, there's no way that when I'm going through here, this is just gonna keep ripping when I go through and get these nails out. And I'm not lifting above 45. Show them how high I'm lifting it real quick. Look at this. That's barely lifting it. I'm just looking to see where the nails are at so I can get them out. And then same thing right here. I mean, checking this, this shingle's just shot. There's no way I can do a safe repair on this and tell this homeowner that they're brought to a pre-loss condition. So we're gonna go try another area. This is the first one we wanted to try. We're gonna go try one more spot on the front side just to see if it's a different outcome. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this did not pass. In my opinion, there's no way I'm doing a repair on a roof like this in this condition, at least on this side of the roof. Bad, it failed. So already knowing that this failed, we're gonna have to replace this slope because every single shingle above it, all of these are gonna get affected. That's gonna staircase up this roof. And then we've got the hips and the valleys. When we go and do this, I'm gonna have to replace the underlayment, of course. And to do the underlayment to code in Georgia, we have our hips, valleys, we've got hips over here. So this is something you have to consider. When we go and replace this valley right here, when we replace the slope, this roof